You know their faces, you know their catchphrases, but did you know they once survived a visit to 1313 Mockingbird Lane? Before they were household names or icons of the silver screen? These stars were getting tangled up in Grandpa's experiments and Herman's high-voltage hijinks. From the Merchant of Venom to a future Batman villain, we're counting down the 15 wildest guest stars you completely forgot visited the Munsters. Jesse White. Season 1, Episode 28. Movie star Munster. Jesse White was best known to television audiences as the perpetually exasperated Maytag repairman and a master of flustered authority figures throughout the 1950s and 60s. But in this episode of The Munsters, he plays one half of a scheming producer who spots Herman and immediately sees dollar signs in a convenient insurance payout, conning Herman into believing he's destined for movie stardom. White's character tricks him into signing what he thinks is a film contract, but is really an insurance policy. What follows is slapstick gold. Herman unknowingly survives increasingly dangerous film stunts meant to finish him off. Naturally, the only people truly in danger are the crooked producers themselves, who end up victims of their own ridiculous traps. Louie Nye. Season 2, Episode 22. Eddie's TV hero. Louie Nye was widely recognized as the nervously pompous straight man on the Steve Allen Show, forever flustered, forever formal, and always just a little out of his depth. But in this episode of The Munsters, he transforms into Zombo, the delightfully dramatic host of a late-night horror show who completely captures Eddie's imagination. Eddie idolizes Zombo, quoting him, mimicking him, and practically ignoring poor Herman in the process. When Eddie wins a studio visit to meet his spooky hero, Herman's jealousy kicks in. Determined to reclaim his status as Dad of the Year, Herman tries reinventing himself as a caped, booming TV ghoul. The result? Classic Munster chaos, proving that no one does lovable monster better than Herman. Richard Deacon. Season 1, Episode 5. Pike's Peak. Richard Deacon was best known as the dry, sharp-tongued authority figure Mel Cooley on The Dick Van Dyke Show, a master at playing bureaucrats who look permanently irritated. But in this early Munsters outing, he appears as one of the buttoned-up city officials, determined to push a new oil pipeline straight through 1313 Mockingbird Lane. The problem is that route runs directly beneath Grandpa's beloved laboratory. As city planners and utility men press forward, Herman and Lily try to handle the dispute diplomatically, while Grandpa plots theatrical revenge worthy of a mad scientist. Deacon's straight-faced delivery plays perfectly against the Munsters' supernatural normalcy, making the civic showdown feel like the most politely absurd zoning dispute in television history. Frank Gorshin. Season 2, Episode 28. Herman, the Tire Kicker. Frank Gorshin, later celebrated for his manic brilliance as the Riddler on Batman. Guest stars as Fair Deal Dan, a fast-talking used car salesman who swindles Herman. After receiving a bonus at work, Herman proudly decides to buy Marilyn a car so she won't have to ride the bus. Despite Grandpa's doubts, Herman purchases a flashy Chevrolet convertible from Dan's lot. The excitement quickly fades when the car literally falls apart in the Munsters' driveway, and worse, it turns out to be stolen. When Herman and Grandpa attempt to return it, Dan has disappeared. Nothing is left but a vacant lot. Herman is soon pulled over, mistaken for intoxicated, and arrested for possession of stolen property. In the end, Dan is brought in intoxicated, sees Herman, and promptly confesses. Harvey Korman. Season 2, Episode 25. Prehistoric Munster. Harvey Korman was best known for his brilliant work on The Carol Burnett Show, where his impeccable comic timing and exaggerated characters made him a sketch comedy legend. But in this delightfully oddball Munsters outing, he slips into the role of Professor Fogg in Spawn, enthusiastic and somewhat over-the-top anthropology professor who, along with his colleague, becomes convinced that Herman is a missing link after seeing a clay bust Marilyn made of him. What follows is a gleeful mix of academic pomposity, case of mistaken identity hijinks, and Herman's trademark clueless charm. Corman's performance leans into wild German accented delivery and grandiose theories, giving the episode an extra layer of absurdity as primitive Herman navigates being examined like a scientific curiosity. Alvy Moore, Season 1, Episode 20. Bats of a Feather. Alvy Moore, best known for playing County Agent Hank Kimball on Green Acres, guest stars as Dr. Grant, a government scientist overseeing an unusual space experiment. The chaos begins when Eddie chooses Grandpa's pet bat Igor for the school pet fair. After Igor flies off in a huff, Grandpa transforms himself into a bat to take his place. When Eddie trades Igor to classmate Timmy Brubaker, Grandpa is unknowingly taken to a Washington laboratory. There, Dr. Grant reveals plans to send the bat into space alongside a female bat as part of a research mission. Herman storms the lab to rescue Grandpa, but accidentally grabs the wrong bat, frightening Dr. Grant in the process. Eventually, Grandpa escapes on his own, and Igor returns, romantically interested in the spacebound bat. Billy Mumy. Season 1, Episode 25. Come back, little Googie. Billy Mumy, later famous for his role as Will Robinson on Lost in Space. Guest stars as Googie Miller, Eddie's mischievous friend who comes to stay for the weekend. At first, the Munster family is excited about the visit, but they quickly discover Googie is rude, disrespectful, and obsessed with pulling pranks. He targets Herman at dinner, then challenges Grandpa to turn him into a rabbit. After more troublemaking, Grandpa appears to transform Googie into a chimpanzee, but it's actually another one of Googie's elaborate practical jokes involving a pet store monkey. While Eddie is pressured to keep quiet, the chaos escalates until Googie's father arrives. In the end, the truth comes out, and the Munsters are relieved to see their troublesome guest finally head home. Paul Lynde. Season 1, Episode 19. Eddie's Nickname. Paul Lynde was best known as the delightfully mischievous Uncle Arthur on Bewitched, a master of sarcastic humor and perfectly timed facial expressions. But in this Munsters episode, he appears as Dr. Edward Dudley, the concerned pediatrician summoned to assess Eddie after Grandpa's magic milkshake potion goes awry. Eddie, upset about being teased at school as Shorty, hopes the potion will make him taller, but instead sprouts a 6-inch beard overnight. Lynde's deadpan delivery and comic timing are a perfect foil to Herman's frantic attempts to manage the hairy situation. Between Eddie's confusion, Grandpa's guilt, and the family's scramble to contain the chaos, Lynde's Dr. Dudley adds a layer of absurdly straight-faced authority that makes the episode both hilarious and charming. We've seen some great stars so far, and there are more to come. If you are enjoying this video, hit the like button and show some support for the channel by smashing the subscribe button. It really means a lot to us. John Carradine. Season 1, Episode 37. Herman's Raise. Legendary character actor John Carradine. Known for his commanding voice and long career in classic horror films, guest stars as Mr. Gateman, Herman's stern and tight-fisted boss at the funeral parlor. After working long hours without extra pay, Herman is encouraged by Lily to finally demand a raise. The bold move backfires and Gateman immediately fires him. Afraid to upset Lily, Herman pretends he's still employed while secretly trying a string of disastrous new jobs, including boxer, sewer worker, boat welder, and even a stint at Tom Fong's laundry, where chaos quickly follows. When Lily discovers the truth, she personally appeals to Gateman, softening his heart. He reinstates Herman with a raise, only for Herman to return home suddenly full of swagger and self-importance. Dom DeLuise. Season 2, Episode 17. Just Another Pretty Face. Dom DeLuise was best known as a riotously energetic comic actor. With a career full of exaggerated expressions, wild gestures, and perfectly timed chaos, from Mel Brooks movies to countless TV appearances. In this Munsters episode, he guest stars as Dr. Dudley. The doctor called in after a laboratory accident in Grandpa's lab gives Herman a shocking makeover. A jolt of electricity transforms Herman's face from his iconic monster look into a normal, handsome human visage, a change the family finds utterly horrifying. Dr. Dudley's frantic attempts to treat Herman and return him to his usual monstrous self create hilarious tension, with Herman cheerfully oblivious to the panic around him. Between scientific mayhem and family overreaction, DeLuise delivers a masterclass in physical comedy. Elvia Allman. Season 2, Episode 19. The Most Beautiful Ghoul in the World. Elvia Allman was a versatile character actress, best remembered as Elverna Bradshaw on the Beverly Hillbillies. Her sharp-tongued delivery and aristocratic irritation made her a standout. In this Munster's appearance, she guest stars as Mrs. Harkness, a wealthy socialite who visits Lily and Marilyn's brand-new beauty salon with high expectations. Allman plays the role with perfectly controlled dignity, which makes it even funnier when the makeover goes spectacularly wrong. Instead of elegance, Mrs. Harkness ends up completely bald, and Allman's slow-burn outrage turns the disaster into comedy gold. Her refined manner, clipped reactions, and escalating horror steal the spotlight, proving once again that no one did flustered high society quite like Elvia Allman. Don Rickles. Season 1, Episode 22. Dance with Me, Herman. Don Rickles was best known as the Merchant of Venom, a legendary insult comic whose quick wit and razor-sharp put-downs made him a household name in stand-up and television. But in this Munsters episode, he takes on the role of Herman's no-nonsense dance instructor, tasked with teaching the giant, uncoordinated patriarch to move with grace for an upcoming parents' night dance. Rickles' abrasive, high-pressure style pushes Herman to his comedic limits, resulting in hilarious mishaps, tangled feet, and exaggerated pratfalls. Between the slapstick dancing, Herman's overzealous attempts to please, and Rickles' trademark snarky commentary, the episode turns a simple dance lesson into a riotous spectacle. Rickles' timing and delivery elevate every gag, making him a memorable and delightfully intimidating guest star. Gary Owens. Season 2, Episode 12. Will success spoil Herman Munster? Gary Owens was best known as the smooth, deadpan-voiced announcer on Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In, a master of cool delivery and quick comedic timing. In this Munsters episode, he guest stars as Dick Willett, a local radio disc jockey whose show inadvertently launches Herman's brief musical career. After Eddie borrows a tape recorder from a friend, Herman records a spirited version of the folk song Dry Bones. Owens' DJ character plays the track on the radio, turning Herman into an overnight sensation, though the Munster family hears it first and finds it terrible. As Herman grows conceited, Lily panics about his newfound fame, and Grandpa sabotages the recordings with nothing muffins, hilariously distorting Herman's voice. Owens' smooth, professional delivery contrasts perfectly with Herman's monstrous antics, making the episode a fun mix of music, comedy, and classic family chaos. Paul Reed. Season 2, Episode 21. The Fregosi Emerald. Paul Reed was best known for his work on Car 54, Where Are You?, where he shared the screen with fellow character actors Fred Gwynne and Al Lewis, a reunion that gave the Munsters episode an extra dash of nostalgia. In this installment, he guest stars as Henry J. Fregosi, the last living descendant of a Transylvanian family cursed by the centuries-old Fregosi Emerald. When Eddie gifts Marilyn the ring, a string of mishaps ensues. Herman accidentally puts on the cursed ring, causing havoc at breakfast, and Grandpa's attempts to remove the curse lead them to Reed's hidden laboratory in Detroit. Reed's straight-faced, authoritative performance as the reluctant yet knowledgeable heir provides the perfect foil for Herman's oblivious antics, Grandpa's frantic scheming, and Lily's exasperation. Between cursed rings, magical mayhem, and comic timing, Reed elevates the episode with charm and gravitas. Ken Osmond. Season 2, Episode 30. Herman's Sorority Caper. Ken Osmond was best known as the iconic Eddie Haskell on Leave It to Beaver, the sly, mischievous teenager who could charm parents while scheming behind their backs. In this Munsters episode, he guest stars as John, one of two college fraternity pledges alongside Phil, played by David Macklin, who decide to use the Munster house for a prank, mistaking Herman, frozen in a trance by Grandpa for hiccup treatment, for a dummy. They carry him off to leave him at the Alpha Kappa sorority house. Chaos ensues as Herman awakens in the girls' room. Grandpa transforms into a bat to rescue him, and the pledge's prank spirals hilariously out of control. Osmond's straight-faced, slightly clueless performance perfectly contrasts Herman's oblivious heroics, Grandpa's supernatural antics, and Lily's exasperation, creating a comedic collision of college hijinks and Munster-style mayhem. It's amazing to see how many legends started out or stopped by the Munster household. Which of these cameos was your absolute favorite? Or did we miss a star you remember seeing in the dungeon? Drop a comment below and let us know. If you loved this trip down memory lane, hit that like button and subscribe to Amazing Fun Facts for more deep dives into your favorite classic TV history. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.